Hey everybody, Heather here. So today I thought we could color this cute Magnolia image called Tilda Blowing Hearts, and she has a card kit available in the store, and I'll put a link down in the description box if you're interested in that. But remember, don't wait if you really like it because it could run out. They are limited edition. So I've already stamped my image on Neenah 80-pound Solar White cardstock with Memento Tuxedo Black ink. So let's color. So I'm going to start off by outlining my image, and for that today I'm going to use W0. And I just start down here at the bottom of her foot, and I'm just going to go lightly all the way around. Make sure to get that little curly cue of hair that's sticking out. Go around her hair bow. And she also has a little patch right here in between her pants and her hair that is background, so I'm going to color that. And we'll go up here. And I'm going to go around these little hearts too. Give them a little bit of definition. And we're just going to go back down to the other side. Get this little heart. And remember, I don't worry about getting the color on my girl. If I accidentally color on her, I'll go ahead and use my colorless blender to either erase it, or if I know I'm going to color it with a darker color, I just don't worry about it and just color right over the top of it. And here's a little patch of background. Let's color that in. And in between her legs. Quick and easy. Just a little outline to make her pop up off the page. So next, let's go down here and do the background, or the ground. Zoom in a little bit there. There we go. Make sure it focuses again. So for this, I'm going to use E44, E43, and E42. And I'm going to start with E44. And I try to go up past her foot just a little bit when I start, and then I just lay my pen down and I lightly flick away from her. Let's go over here and get in between her legs there a little bit too. And then I'm just going to go. And I'm trying not to color her shoe, even though it's going to be black. I try not to get, this is a pretty dark color, so it's not going to erase very well. And I just add a little bit of dark underneath there. Then we're going to go with E43. And again, I lay down on top of my last color. And I want to go past just a little bit. Make sure to do this edge. And get this side. And of course over here we want to get behind this little line. And then I'm going to take E42 for my lightest color. And go past that. And up here just a little bit. And then after I've got the background or the ground all down, I like to go back with my darkest color and just add the shadows back in. So I've got E44 again. And I may not do the whole area I did the first time, but just a little bit. Or I may do more. It just depends on how I like it to look at that moment. So next, let's go ahead and do her skin, and for that I'm going to use E11, E21, E00, E000, and for her cheeks I'm going to use R43, R20, and R30. So let's start with E11, and I'm going to do her hands first. I'm just going to add a small touch line down here at the bottom of each hand, and then she's got a little thumb right here, so I'm going to add a little definition there by pulling this out like that. And then we're going to do this side. And go around like that. Sorry if you heard the dogs barking there. It's a sunny day out today and they're just going crazy. People are out for walks. So now we're going to do E21. And brush lightly over your 11 and just add a little bit of color. Let's bring this one up a little bit more. And same for this one. There we go. And then we're going to add E00. And brush that. And I'm not too worried about getting it on those hearts. If you do, that's okay. because we're going to color those red, and so the red is going to cover that light color up. And then we're going to fill that in with E000. And again, I'm not worried about getting it on the heart, because we're just going to fill that in. Okay, and then let's go up here and do her face. And again, I'm going to start with E11. And I want, because her face is tipped down over here, I'm going to make this side the darkest. So I'm going to go over here and I'm going to add E11, just a small amount right along her chin. And then up here on the side of her face and around to her bangs here. Like that. And then I'm going to go with E21. And I want to go all the way on this side and fill in this cheek. And then we're going to brush just a little bit on the top of this so we can soften that line. And then E00. And I'm not worried that it's not totally blended, because after I add my cheek color, I'm going to go over it again. And this is E000. So it looks kind of patchy now, but that's okay because we're going to go over it again. So let's add some cheeks, and for that I'm going to use R43. And I use these little dots that are already here as my guide. And I'm just going to put some bright pink in here, like that. And then I'm going to go with R20, and I want to just push that on the edge. And then R30 to soften it just a little bit more. Okay, and then I skip E11 when I go back with my color. I'm going to go with E21. Brush that out here, kind of in the middle of those little dots. And then this side, let's make this side just a little bit darker, and again, kind of like in the middle of where those dots are. And then E00. And I want to brush clear over the cheek this time. Let's go over this one, we'll brush over that cheek. And again, don't worry about those hearts because we're going to color those red. And then E000 to fill it in. And then after you get all done, if you feel that you've made your cheeks too light, you just go back over them a second time and darken them up a little bit. So like I take my R43, and add a little bit of color here along the edges. R20, R30, and then I take my E000 and just go over those to lightly soften the edge. So now let's go do her hair, and for that we're going to use E79, E77, E74, and E71. I'm going to start with E79 to add my shadows. So I go ahead and do that right up here at the crown of her head where the roots are. Just add a few of those streaks in there. Go this way. Like that. And then down here, where it kind of tips into her face, I'm going to add just a little bit right next to her cheek. And then where it comes back out on the underneath, I'm going to go ahead and do underneath there. I'm going to do a little line real close to her face so I don't accidentally color her face, because you'd never get this color off. It's way too dark. And then we're going to go down here, add some where her ponytail scrunchie is, both sides. And then let's do a little bit like that. I'm going to go up here and do this side. And again, it's dipping down here underneath of her hair face. So I'm going to do a little bit right there. And where it's coming out underneath of her hand right here. And then above her little scrunchie. And below the scrunchie. And the end of the little swirl. And then we're going to go with E77, add some more color. I'm going to tip her a little bit better so I can get some more strokes in. And we're just going to go And I try to keep my brush going in the direction her hair is going. So it's kind of curving over the top and then falling down this way. So I try to keep my brush going the same direction. I wouldn't want to be going this way or down like this. Okay, and then let's do down here. And let's do a little bit right here where this thumb is. I'm worried about getting that on the thumb here. Just brush that up a little bit more. Okay, and then let's do our ponytail. Move over to this ponytail, add a few streaks in. And just work our way back up. Now I'm going to come on this side of her ponytail. Remember, she has a sleeve right there, so try not to color that. And then we'll go up here and get the top. And I think I'll add a little bit right here where it dips down underneath. Just add a little bit of shadows right there. And then we'll bring this out like that. Okay, and then we're going to add some E74 next. So again, I'm going to go over here, and I always make sure to lay my pen down on top of a previous color so that I can color a little bit of that in. Okay, and this is a little bit darker color, so I'm going to go around that heart so I don't accidentally color it, because I think that would probably show through just a little bit on the red. And then we'll get a little bit more down here in her ponytail. And this ponytail. Leave a little bit of white there for our last color. And let's color underneath of her sleeve. And brush a couple of streaks in here. And then up here at the top of her head. Like that. And then I take E71 and I fill it all the way in. You can also just leave some white space if you like that. That looks pretty cool. I can just never get it right, so I always just prefer to just color it all the way in. Careful, go around that heart. Okay, and then after I have her hair all colored, I like to go back with my darkest color, which is E79, and I'm going to add some more streaks in. And when I'm adding the streaks in, I tend to keep my pencil more upright, and my streaks are going down farther than they did the first time. So they're skinnier, and they're going a little bit farther down. And let's get up here at this crown right here, do this side. So now let's go do her shirt, and for that I'm going to use just E50. So on her shirt she's got, it looks like this is like a collar up here around her neck, so I'm going to color that all the way in. And this is a light color, so I'm not worried about getting it on that heart. And then we're going to go down here and we're going to do her sleeve. I guess maybe it's supposed to be a turtleneck. And then after it's dried, I go back and I go over where I want to add my shadows with my pen a second time. Underneath the heart, underneath of her hand. And again, if I want it to be darker, I'm just going to go back over it again. And just adds a little bit of shadow in there. Same color, it's just every time you add a layer of color, it makes it just a little bit darker. Also, she's got a little bit of her shirt showing right here from where her little overalls are. I missed that. Color that in. And I'm just going to swipe those 2 or 3 times. 4 times, however you want to get those as dark as you would like. So now let's go do her overalls, and for that we're going to use B34 and B32. And let's just start on this side over here. It looks like she's got a little patch of her overall that's showing through from underneath right there. Same on this side, so I'm going to just go ahead and just fill that in. I'm actually going to paint it twice, so it's going to be a little bit darker. And then let's start on this side of her pants. So I start out so I don't go outside the lines. I'm going to draw a little line down the inside of her, or on the outside of her leg. Down like this. Okay, and then I'm going to come back. I'm going to touch down on that line I made, and I'm just going to flick in a little bit. Because we're only using 2 colors, I need to use up a little bit more space. Okay, and then over here on this leg, we're going to go underneath of her little pants there. And again, I'm going to draw my line so I don't go outside the lines. Like that. And then I'm going to turn my girl so I can flick a little bit better. Because I need to use up some more of that space. And I should probably go down next to this patch. That patch is going to create a shadow on the side there. Okay, I'm liking that. So now let's do this side. Again, I'm drawing my line so that I don't go outside the lines. I like to turn my girl so I can touch down on my line and then flick away. And that causes me to raise my hand up. And as I go further away, my little line gets skinnier. Okay, and then let's do this side. Down the side of her hair. Until we get down here. And then flick away from that line out here into the middle. Okay, that leaves us with the top up here. Let's go ahead and make this side a little bit darker. Like that. Turn her a little bit. And I'm going to be really careful that I try not to get any on that heart, because this blue would definitely show through when we get to the red. Okay, and then I'm going to go with my B32 next. And again, I want to lay down on top of my last color. And we're just going to go from there and fill in this area over here. You just want to fill, and I'm making sure to brush over that line so it makes it blend in all the way. Same down here, we're going to brush over the edge of that line. And I'm going to go back over it a second time. And this time I'm going to fill in down here where these cute little ruffles are. And I didn't worry about the dots on the pants. I just colored them all the way in. If you wanted them to be white, you just have to avoid those, but they're pretty small. Okay, and we're going to go down here. Same thing, we want to brush over the edge of that line. Brush over this side. And then I'm going to go over it a second time. Over this side a second time. And then I'm going to fill in. And I don't use this pin very much, so it's really wet. If yours is really wet and you're worried about it dropping or making a big blob, take the other end off for a little bit and then put it back on after a little while. It only takes about a second or so, but I just usually leave it off in color if I'm worried about making a big old dots. I like the blue of those pants. I might have to use that again. So now let's go do the pockets on her pants and her boots. I'm going to use for that, I'm going to use C7, C5, C3, and C1. I'm going to go ahead and start up here at the pockets. So I'm going to use my C7 first, and I'm going to brush, and I'm turning her sideways so I can brush a little bit better. And I'm going to go right underneath her arm. If you get this on her arm, it's going to make a big mess. And I can tell already my pin's wet, so I'm going to grab the other end of my pin off so I don't accidentally make a big blob. I don't use these dark colors very much. And we're just going to add some of that C7, like that. Same down here for this pocket, or this little patch. Add a little bit of C7 down here. Okay, whoops, put it on the other end, in case I need that again. And then we're going to go with C5. And you touch down on top of your C7 and flick out here towards the middle. And I still got a little bit of a line there, so I'm going to go back over that again. Same with this side. And then we're going to grab C3. And I still got a little bit line there, so I'm going to kind of touch down in the middle of where I started that last color. And just flick over a little bit more. And then we're going to fill that in with C1. I'm going to brush this way so I don't go outside the lines. And let's give it another brush. Okay, I'm liking how that looks. So now let's go do her boots. And again, I'm going to start with my C7. So I want to add a little bit of C7 right underneath of her pants. And then she's got this little bump on her shoe where it shows where it's bending. I'm going to put some there. And then we're going to go down this side. And I want to go right along the sole of her boot. And then I want to add a little bit of a wrinkle where her sole is actually supposed to be. So I'm going to just go in a little bit like this with my C7. Okay, same for the other boot. You want to go underneath of her pants. And along the sole. Make sure to get where it's kind of bent back there. And then again, I want to add a little bit of a definition for my boot sole, so I'm going to add a little line right here. And I'm not going to worry about the back. And then I'm going to grab a C5. And for this boot, I'm going to fill in above that little crease in her foot. And then I want to brush over each one of these little lines just to soften them. And I think I'll add a little bit on that side. Like that, maybe a little bit over here just to soften that edge just a little bit. Bring that around. Okay. Then we're going to go with C3. And this time I just want to leave a little bit of a white patch kind of at the top of her boot to give it a shiny spot. So like that. And then I'm going to fill it in with C1. You could also still not fill it in all the way, but just leave a little bit of a white spot and when you color this color on, and that would make a little shiny spot too. But again, that's just, I can never get it to look right, so I just don't do that. And there's her boots. Cute. Alright, so that leaves us with her hair bows and all these wonderful hearts, and for that we're going to use R37 and 35. So I'm going to start with my R37, and let's go ahead and start our little bows down here. So I just colored the little spots that are on the hair ties all the way in, and then for each bow, I just kind of colored the bottom of each bow, and then kind of made a little line up the center there. And the same for this side. We're going to color the bow on her hair in, and then give each bow a little streak. Then for the hearts, I just went in, and I'm being careful not to get this everywhere, but the bigger ones I made a little bit bigger side, and then the smaller hearts I just gave a little dab. You just want to give each one a little dab of color. Like that. Whoops, sorry, I forgot to go all the way down. And then I'm going to take R35 and fill it in. Helps if you move the paper down so you can see. That's what I get for cuss coloring Alana not paying attention to what the camera's doing up above me. And work my way down. Get these. And then for the hair bows, I just filled them in. All right, so that is our cute Tilda blowing hearts, all colored up. Doesn't she look fabulous? I'm still loving those pants. I'm definitely going to have to try that color again. And then here is the finished card. Super cute. And I added some Wink Estella glitter pin to her hair, or you could add a Spica glitter pin in her hair. And then I took my Stickle Stardust and added it to all these little hearts and her hair bows just to give them some sparkle. And then for the flowers, before I attached them, I put them onto my paintbrush and kind of rolled up the edges a little bit so that they would kind of poke up. I know when you mail it, it's going to go flat, but you can just kind of take your finger and rework them so they kind of pop up. And then my girl, I didn't pop her up this time. She's just actually flat on the card. So I hope you had fun coloring with me today. Again, if you'd like this card kit, head over to the store and grab one. I'll put a link down in the description box. And there's tons of other stuff over there too. And you might want to check out the clearance section. I added a bunch of stuff in there here lately. But I hope you had fun coloring with me, and we'll see you next time. Have a great day. Bye.